Very good morning to all of you. So today we are going to start studying about error control coding, and we will start with block codes or block coding. First of all, we need to discuss that why do we require error control coding at the first place. The probability of error for a particular signaling scheme is a direct function of signal to noise ratio at the receiver input and also the information rate. However, in practical systems, the maximum signal power and the bandwidth of the channel are confined to some fixed values. Also, the noise power spectral density is fixed for a particular operating environment. And since all these constraints are there, it is often not possible to arrive at a signaling scheme which will yield an acceptable probability of error for a given application. The only practical alternative for reducing the probability of error is the use of error control coding. And there are two prominent methods of error correction. One is automatic repeat request ARQ and another is forward error correction FEC. So we are going to study during the course of this lecture mostly about forward error correction, of which block code is an integral part. Uh, some words about ARQ method. In the ARQ, automatic repeat request method, when an error is detected, the receiver sends a request to the transmitter for repeating the transmission, after which the transmitter retransmits. In the forward error correction method, an automatic mechanism of error correction in the form of error correction code or error control code is employed, and hence retransmission of data is not necessary. So we are going to study about FEC method, which is the form of error correction code, of which block codes are very important part. Now FEC is basically channel coding, and we need to understand why do we require channel coding in the first place. We want to increase the resistance of digital communication systems to channel noise via this FEC type of error control coding. How we are going to do it? We map the incoming data sequence into a channel input sequence and then inverse map the channel output sequence into an output data sequence in such a way that the overall effect of channel noise on the system is minimized. Basically, channel coding involves introducing some redundancy in the channel encoder so as to reconstruct the original source sequence as accurately as possible. We will see how does introduction of redundancy in the channel encoder helps us to securely reproduce or reconstruct the original source sequence. Error control for preserving the data transmitted is exercised mostly by ARQ and FEC, of which we are going to study FEC or forward error correction method. So the block diagrammatic representation of such a method is uh, before you, and the first block is the discrete source, and then it is encoded using channel encoder, and the noise affects when the channel encoding part has been done and the data is actually being transmitted, and this noise is going to affect the channel. The discrete source generates information in the form of binary symbols. However, the voltage level of that symbols gets affected by the noise. The channel encoder accepts message bits and adds some redundancy to produce encoded data. However, we should remember that the encoded data is at a higher bit rate, and the channel decoder uses the redundancy to decide which message bits were actually transmitted. So this redundancy helps us in deciding the actual position and the binary value of that particular bit which was transmitted. What is the implication of error control coding and how the addition of redundancy helps us? The addition of redundancy implies the need for increased transmission bandwidth because you are adding more and more bits, so it will require more and more resources in terms of bandwidth. It also adds complexity in the decoding operation. So we need to make a design trade-off in the sense that when we are going to design an error control coding scheme, we should be able to achieve acceptable error performance. However, taking into account bandwidth and system complexity into mind also. So types of error control coding. two types, block quotes and convolutional quotes. And we are concerned with block quotes in this particular lecture, and they are usually in the form of this set, this tuple nk block quote, where n is the number of bits of the code word and k is the number of bits for the binary message. Block quotes are also known as arithmetic quotes or group quotes. There is each block of k message bits encoded into a block of n bits. So n here is the encoded bits and k here is the message bits. N is greater than k. We should remember this. The check bits are derived from the message bits and added to them. To generate an NK block code, the channel encoder accepts information in successive k bit blocks. Okay, and for each block we add n minus k redundant bits to produce an encoded block of n bits called a code word. So redundancy is always there right from the beginning in the block code because it forms a part of forward error correction coding scheme. The n minus k redundant bits are algebraically related to the k message bits, and the channel encoder produces bits at a rate which is called the channel data rate. Let's denote this channel data rate by R naught. R naught is equal to nk into rs, where rs is the bit rate of the information source and n upon k is the code rate. Now the channel encoder accepts information in blocks of k bits, and for each block it adds the redundant bits to produce an encoded bit of n bits called a code word. The channel the channel decoder uses the redundancy to decide which message bits were actually transmitted. In this case, whether the decoding of the received code word is successful or not, the receiver does not perform further processing. In other words, if an error is detected in a transmitted code word, the receiver does not request for retransmission of the corrupted code word. That is the case with ARQ, but not with forward error correction. So linear block code we are going to study about, and NK block code indicates that the code word has n number of bits and k is the number of bits for the original message. N is greater than k, remember. A code is said to be linear if any two code words in the code can be added in modulo 2 arithmetic to produce a third code word in the code. We will tell you about modulo 2 mean. What does it mean by modulo 2 arithmetic in the next slide. Now, what is a code vector? Any n-bit code word can be visualized in an n-dimensional space as a vector. So if you draw x and y axis and draw a line at angle 45 degree and points to, as a vector, then it's a two-dimensional space and a vector, and its x and y coordinates can be visualized as the part of 2-bit code whose elements have coordinates equal to the bits in the code word. For example, a code word 101 can be written in a row vector notation 101. You can visualize it that there are three axes, x, y, and z, and there is a vector pointing out its coordinate on x-axis is 1, on y-axis is 0, and z-axis is 1. Matrix representation of block quotes is a convenient form. We usually represent block quotes using a matrix. A block of k message bits can be written in the form of a 1 by k matrix. Now, we switch on to modulo 2 operations. The encoding and decoding functions involve the binary arithmetic operation of modulo 2, and here are the rules for modulo 2 operations. The encoding and decoding functions involve the binary operation of modulo 2. Modulo 2 just means that just before 2, the output will be there, and just when we are going to reach 2, the output folds itself to the initial point, that is called modulo 2. So 0 plus 0 is 0, 1 plus 0 is 1, 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 in usually it has to be 2, but since it's modulo 2 addition, it doesn't reach 2, it falls to its initial point, falls back to its initial point, and that is 0. Okay, same rule with modulo 2 multiplication. 0 into 0 is 0, 0 into 1 into 0 is 0, 0 into 1 is also 0, 1 into 1 is 1. So it doesn't let the output or the result of any operation reach the value 2, it falls just before that. Linear block code example. The redundancy bit n minus k are identical to k for 5 1 block. The original binary message has 1 bit, so 5 minus 1 equal to 4 bits are to be added to the binary message to form a code word, and 4 additional bits are identical to the 1 bit binary message. So if so, you have two code words, either 1 1 1 1 1 or 0 0 0 0 0. Okay, because 4 bits that we have added are redundant bits. In case of an error, 1 will be changed to 0, and or vice versa, 0 will be changed to 1, and the decoder will know that it has wrongly received a code word, and that is similar to the parity check. Now, what is parity check codes? You all must have studied them in the class on digital electronics. Codes are based on the notion of parity. The parity of a binary word is said to be even when the word contains an even number of ones, and odd parity when it has odd number of ones. So number of ones in the message decides the type of parity. A group of n-bit code words are constructed from a group of n-1 message bits. One check bit is added to the n-1 message bits such that all the code words have the same parity. When the received code word has different parity, we know that an error has occurred. I'm going to take an example. Let n is equal to 3 and let there be even parity. The binary message are 0 0 0 1 1 0 and 1 1. So even parity means the number of ones has to be even. The check bit is added so that the number of ones becomes even. So we have added a check bit in all the binary messages, and the number of ones here in has become even. In the case of say 00, we couldn't have added a 1 because it would have made the number of ones in that message as odd, so we have added a 0. The added bits are shown as dashed. So 01, for 01 we have added another 1, so the parity is even, and another again for 10 we have another 1 added, so to make parity even. After making the parity even, if some error occurs in the original bits, say the 0 0 1 bit error occurs and the second 0 becomes a 1. Since the second 0 becomes a 1 at the receiver, the parity has to be even, but we receive a 0 1 0 sequence where the parity was odd. So we know the receiver knows that that error has been made. So that is the beauty of generating error checking using parity. Now we come to systematic block codes, codes in which the message bits are transmitted in an unaltered form. Consider an NK linear block code. There are 2 raised to power k number of distinct message blocks and 2 raised to power n number of distinct code words. Let M0, M1, M2, M3 going up to Mk minus 1 constitute a block of k bits binary message. We apply this sequence of message bits to a linear block encoder, and just like all block encoders, it adds some redundant bits to the binary message. And what is the number of the redundant bits? The number is always n minus k. Let B0, B1, B2, B3 going up to Bn minus k minus 1 constitute a block of n minus k bits redundancy. This will produce an n bits code word. Let C0, C1, C2, C3 going up to Cn minus 1 constitute a block of n bit code word. Using vector representation, they can be written in a row vector notation, like you can see here. There is a set of C which constitute a block of n bit code words. There is a set of M constituting m bit message word, and a block of B constituting a block of n minus k bit redundancy. Now we can use matrix representation also to define C, M, and B respectively. C is defined by a 1 by n code vector, M is defined by a 1 by k message vector, and B is defined by a 1 by n minus k parity vector. So this is how it looks. We have the parity bits and we have the message bits with a systematic structure. A code word is divided into two parts. One part occupied by the binary message only, and the other part occupied by the redundant or parity bits. So in the systematic block code, parity bits form the left leftmost bits of the whole code word. So the n minus k leftmost bits of the code word are identical to the corresponding parity bits, and the k rightmost bits of a code word are identical to the corresponding message bits. So this is the structure of a typical systematic block code. In matrix form, also we can write the code word C as partition row vector in terms of vectors M and B. So M denoted in bold means it's a vector, it constitutes more than one element. B in bold means it's a vector, is constitute more than one element, just like we have shown before. Given a message vector M, the corresponding code vector C for a systematic linear NK block code can be obtained by simple matrix multiplication. C is given by M multiplied with G, where G is the K by N generator matrix. Now, in generation of all these codes, generator matrix plays a very important role. In the numerical problems also, you will be given a generator matrix. So let's have a look at how a generator matrix looks like. G, the K by N generator matrix, has a general structure which constitutes an identity matrix and a parity matrix, we can say. So Ik here is K by K identity matrix, and P is the K by N minus K coefficient matrix. The identity matrix simply reproduces the message vector for the first k elements of C, and the coefficient matrix generates the parity vector B via B is equal to M into P. The elements of P are found via research on coding, and you need to have a historical data. So whenever some question is asked on this particular topic, we assume that this P has been provided before, because it has to come from some prior research, and it has to be based on some solid foundations. Hamming code. It's a type of n-k linear block code with the following parameters. It has a block length of n, which is equal to 2 raised to power m minus 1. Number of message bits k equal to 2 raised to power m minus 1. Number of parity bits is n minus k is equal to m. So m here is the redundancy number n minus k, where m is greater than equal to 3. That also should be borne in mind. So we take an example of a Hamming code, a 7-4 Hamming code with the following parameters: n is equal to 7, k equal to 4, and therefore m is equal to 7 minus 4 equal to 3. So the k by n minus k, it means 4 by 3 coefficient matrix P, is given by this. And we have this generator matrix whose first part is the parity matrix P, and the second part is the identity matrix of size 4. The parity vector generated by B is equal to M into P. So let's uh, find out how it was generated. So the formula says that it is B is equal to M into P, and P is given to you for a given block of message bits M. We can work out the parity vector B, and hence the code word is C equal to M into G for 7-4 Hamming code. So we can try to work out the code words for the 7-4 Hamming code, and I have done it for you beforehand, and let's try out for yourself and then tally the results. These are the message words, these are the parity bits, and the code words are represented in the third column. So you can try in your spare time these examples, and we will see a numerical example also on block codes in the later lectures. Thank you very much.